Chess is a very unfortunate game, and today we are going to be dissecting one of the most fascinating games that have ever graced us upon the earth, the Position from the Fatui trailer. Now, I would just like to put on a disclaimer. I know that there's a lot of theories, myself included, and a lot of research about this being the actual position of Garry Kasparov versus Deep Blue AI, just with the kings and the queens swapped. But I'm going to show you today why the actual position that we see on the board, with the assumption that the queen works the same way that, well, regular chess does, because chess exists in the world of Genshin, is really dumb. The fun of this position is that it looks exactly like a really bad YouTube trailer, and I'm going to be dissecting this. Now, here's a disclaimer, I'm not a chess savant. I'm going to be assuming that Venti's Gnosis is the queen because of the imagery that's always been associated with Venti's Gnosis in the first place. Like, as much as I do want to theorize that yes, it is the king piece, because of the visual narratives that are associated with Venti's Gnosis, it's much more fun, honestly, to just dissect it being a queen. And the funnier part about this is that the position is such a clusterfuck. But the beauty is not in the question of what happens after this position, it's what a series of unfortunate events leads us to this position. Now, a lot of people are going to say, why don't you just refer to the game that Garry Kasparov versus Deep Blue AI had? There's a difference between an activated queen dominating the center of the board versus an activated king dominating the center of the board. And to have a game where the bishops are just gone is so fascinating. We're going to be trying to mimic this position as authentically as possible. Well, authentically in a sense that there's a reason why there were kings originally. I'm just a chess enthusiast. I'm not a grandmaster, international master, or any of the likes. I'm just someone that genuinely likes chess, and since I'm lower elo, I like to think that I'm also in the mind of the bumbling buffoons that blunder a queen and move 7. So, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you learn a bit more of chess as this goes along. This is just going to be a scuffed side video, don't worry about it. What a bozo looking game. Okay, so update. Basically, I tried to do like a very regular opening to the best of my abilities, and the goal here is to try to get a position that is exactly like this one. So basically, I opened up the king's pawn, did this, put down the queen's pawn, pulled out the knight, basically, since this was open, I needed the bishop here to try and god the king out, and the king moved here, and I put my knight here, and the king is now here. I'm trying to get to a position rationally where the queens just do not leave the house for some reason. Something, the Tsaritsa is the queen of the other board, and something, Venti is the queen of the other board, but he actually stays very close to his home base, something lore. And the king is now beginning his walk of shame to the other side of the board. And I have to remember that the game in the Fatui doesn't have any bishops left. And each side only has one horse and one king. So I'm going to try to get to a position where these two pawns are supposed to be here. And this pawn is suspiciously very missing. So I don't know which horse I'm going to try to get. This doesn't look like a castle, I think. Actually, I think it does look like a castle. This is the king's to move. If we short castle here, we'll get the rook up to the open file. Knight next to the queen. We're going to try to get a sacrifice here. The thing is, like, we have to play this as logically as we can to get to the position. A very clown fiesta of a position in the game. I have to get one of the rooks out authentically, and I have to sacrifice the bishop. So this is going to be a lot of trades. The problem here is that I need these two pawns to be alive because this is a pawn that is disconnected, and all of these pawns are just... Actually, no. What the fuck? Right, there's two pawns on the C file. Alright, so this pawn will be... Listen, to play chess, you have to learn how to not play chess. So we have to sacrifice these 3 pawns. Or these 3 pawns. Oh, there's no pawn on C. So I can actually do this. Horse has to take. Okay, horse takes, pawn takes. Okay, so the horse can actually get to the other side already. So this part of the board is already cleared. So we can do it like this. We have to assume that the people that are playing this are stupid because you don't get your white king into the center of the board if you're a smart player, so... And you don't not activate both queens. Oh, this is so dumb. We have a horse here, and this pawn's gonna get eaten because we don't have a pawn on the D file. The queen needs to get to this square, and this square needs to push through. So I think if we do this, this takes. Again, to get into a position like this, you have to be stupid. That's for certain. We now have the open file. And actually, on paper, right, this is a really good-looking thing because it immediately is awayed by this killer fork. And then the blunder, you know, knowing Celestia. The white queen has to somehow get here, and this has to be sacrificed. So this is not actually that bad of a move. But we do... Okay, wait. Let's not develop that. Let's develop this. Since we have to go here, it is normal human move to, like, not take that. We can always just justify that the king doesn't want to take that because it's going to lead to something like... something like this, you know? And if like this, it's like this, right? Accidentally locking in the black bishop, but you know, whatever. So let's make this make a little bit more sense. We're basically playing with no queen. It's kind of sad. Open file. Rook open file. We don't take this just yet because we actually need one of these two pieces to be taken. We can't move this pawn anymore because I would like to say that that pawn, the pawn that's in the Fatui board, it is hanging. Like, it is hanging. There's nothing defending that. Absolutely nothing. So we're just going to need to assume that the king just pivots around it. Next one is we remove this piece and we get this piece out. So it's this, and the next one is actually a much easier piece like this. I mean, you know, logically the king cannot take it, so this is actually not that bad of a square. We need to make it so these two bishops are just not there anymore. We need to authentically get one of the kings out. So I'll be honest, a bishop here attacking the rook is not bad, but that's perfectly fine because I'm assuming that there are several hanging pieces, by the way. Like, listen, I'm playing this as stupidly as I possibly can. We're kind of playing with 100 elo here with this mindset, assuming that the position is Venti is the queen. So we need to somehow get rid of these 4 pawns because we already have this pawn that migrated here. How can I authentically get this here without it looking sus? Actually, this is not that bad of a move. But unfortunately, in the actual game, there's no bishop here, so we're going to have to get rid of that. So hold on real quick. This piece moves here. We don't take that. We don't take that. Oh, okay, wait, we can't actually move it like that. This piece needs to die. I think we can achieve the first position. So if we just do this, the next position would be something like this. Realistically, it's not that good of an idea to actually trade down, you know, the one piece that's activated. If you're in a position like this, the best call, in my opinion, is, while I would love to say trade, I don't think that a bishop is ever worth a horse. Even if there is a fork that's coming up here, because this fork in real chess is actually really, you know, easy to counter. Yeah, something like this is actually will counter that most definitely. Or just like take this. Like just trading a bishop for a rook, especially an activated rook. And the open file is like, the open file is dominated by the rook. Getting rid of that rook is really good, you know, considering everything else that's been happening in this game. I'm not really surprised about that. Assuming that we're not going to be taking that, oh, this is a square that we have to go to. And assuming that the queen is bonobo bozo, this rook dies. So I assume that we move the queen, we move the queen here. And ironically, this is a really devastating move. I'm not going to be following the letters because number 1 is that the colorization is already the same, and 2 is just that, you know, I guess Lee Chess just gave me this and I'm already too far in to actually give 2 shits. So on paper, this is not a bad move because it is threatening the queen, the very unactivated queen, but you know, whatever. So this goes here, tuck away. We can't eat this because that's gonna leave a mark. So what we're going to do is we're going to assemble this position. Do that. I'll do this. So that at least preventing this position, I guess logically speaking, even though logic has already been thrown out the board for very, very long. This is an open file, so this is actually not that hard to counter. So we don't have another horse. So what I'll do is like this, and find a way to open this file. The two rooks are linked up. There's a bishop here, but still a very big problem for me. So we'll just move the king here. I'm gonna move this, take, Oh wait, no, don't take that. Never mind. There's no more pawn here. So what we do is we give a check. And this would justify this king being here. You know, again, we're assuming that everyone here is somehow blundering a piece because... Whoa. I'm going to take back this movement because I realized that the pawn is already on the third file. So I'm just going to do... I did something really wrong. I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And hopefully this will justify this somehow. No, it won't, but you know, it can try. So that we get the king in that position. And there's still a pawn here, that this is the one that's gonna get eaten up. This is not that bad of a move. This will lead to this, but this pawn needs to die. And this bishop needs to go as well. So I think this is not that bad of a move anymore. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright, so let's continue from this position. So it is black to move, and I'm trying to find a way to basically sacrifice this thing authentically. Okay, wait, I can't move this pawn. My problem is this pawn is unmovable. Let's put the horse here to clear out space for this guy. And to logically defend this pawn when I inevitably push this. Yes. Next one is this, which is an open check. And then this pushes. 100 monkey brains go brrr. This is a force to move. And I may have accidentally just checkmated. Whoopsie, I am just that good. Accidentally, monkey. I can't do that. Wait, alright. Let's try to go back into position. This position is actually pretty hard. What? Let's do this. Check, mate. Whoops. Okay, not mate, but the problem is that I can't do this and then this because the pawn here is already like similar to the final position. So I'm just gonna move this to target this one. Move the horse because we need to kill this thing eventually, right? This is a checkmate, I think. No, this is not a mate. Okay. Not a mate. This, not checkmate. Takes. That solves our bishop problem. A really good fork here would be pretty nice. Just so that I can authentically do that. But that would require me to move the queen, so... Check. Eats. Wait, no. I need to use the king to eat this. Eats. Black forks. One of the rooks is just gone, so we might... So since this is Zhang Li's rook, we will save this one. Eats. Moves back. Goes back here. Moves. Goes back here. And then we can lock this position. Okay. Moves here. Eats. Goes here. And we can lock this position. Okay. Next one is this. Which I think I can just solve this with a queen kerfuffle, right? Yeah, if I go here, it's not really a good idea to defend that. The way to defend that, by the way, is you move the king closer. That's the way you can defend that. You move the king closer, or you do something like this. But since we're already in this position, I'm just going to try to move the pieces as less as possible. Yes, it is, in fact. Eats. Okay. And now we need to go back. So what's the most logical way to do this? 1, 2. Well, if you want to eat it, you can be my guest. Check. Not mate. And then we go back here. And then we can do this. Okay. I think I have enough. Move here. Rook here. Black to move. White to move. Alright. Wait, I just realized that these last two pawns didn't move. That's perfectly fine. They're pawns. At the very least, I didn't overextend them, you know. Check. Moves here. This is a very scary threat, by the way. The only way to go back here is you can only defend one of them. Technically, I can just keep pushing it like this. And then you'll have like 2 more pawn movements. Technically not the best solution, but there's a lot of mental gymnastics to get the king into the center of the board anyway, so you know what? I'll consider that a win.